What up, breadheads? We are
Hello, my
live in the
breadheads.
booth.
A booth,
Hi,
booth. Eric.
choo choo.
That's our host
Um,
names. I'm Ty. This is Eric. This is Think Fresh Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.
that is right. Name a better duo other than the Little Caesars root beer and pizza combo.
Mm. What was the last time you went to Little Caesars, Eric?
I haven't been inside of a Little Caesars in probably like 12 years, but I did order some on the failing DoorDash app.
Mm.
Um, it did arrive at my house. I got two pizzas, some breadsticks, some marinara dip, and a 2 liter of root beer. And this wasn't even that long
Wow.
ago. This was like maybe a year and a half ago or 2 years ago.
Mm-mm. It has been a few trips around the sun since I also patroned Lil Caesar. Sounds like a rapper. Um,
Hmm.
but did that bread go crazy? Am I right?
That bar goes stupid crazy. That place is, it just reminds me of like a pizza party in like school. You know what I mean? I've
Mm-hmm.
literally felt like a little kid ordering that stuff. And it's so oily and greasy that you kind of have to like respect it beyond all other pizza brands. Like everything else is like tries to become healthy, but Little Caesars is stuck to its guns, you know?
Totally. I find a weird comfort in Little Caesars. For some reason, despite the food being terrible for my body and the patrons being probably dangerous criminals, and the locations of Little Caesars is never a pleasant place either. But when I step inside a Little Caesars, something about their interior design makes me feel like I'm safe. Like I feel like no bad thing's going to happen to me until I exit those doors. And it's really weird because they haven't done anything that I can think of that would inspire such comfort. They don't have any brick walls
Mhm.
or fake potted plants or warm colors, but yet I feel that way. Do you know the feeling I'm describing?
I do. It's so down to earth.
It's very
They haven't done
humbling.
any like rebrands recently, right? Like I'm just thinking
No.
about the Little Caesars guy, and he's
Mm-hmm.
just like the perfect little mascot. And
Dude, yeah.
you know, in this world of redesigns, we don't need any of that shit. We just need
Yo.
this little guy right here.
How long
You know what
how
I
long
mean?
do we gotten? Yeah, little he's wearing a what is that, a toga? He's culturally appropriated Mediterranean people. Um,
Hmm. He's wearing
how
the
long do
Jesus
we have
sandals
left?
too.
Yeah, before this Little Caesar's little man goes 3D.
Oh
Like
fuck.
he's
Yeah,
gonna
you're
go
right.
3D at some point. He's gonna get Pixar'd.
He's gonna go Pixar, and then you're gonna get like mashups on the internet of him like doing the gritty or something.
Yeah,
Once he's like been rasterized, we're fucked.
yeah, dude. He's gonna look like a your Memoji. I bet he's got the same nose and hair as you.
He's got a big nose, that's for sure, and some chest hair. Like he's got a
Hmm.
decent amount of chest hair, which is nice. And I like that they like included that. Like they don't have this guy
Mm.
wearing any of those like bullshit politically correct hairnets for food employees.
No.
And because he would require a hairnet for his chest as well, and that's just
Hmm.
not it's not okay.
I also love how he's tapping into the like masculine urge to hunt. His spear has been pierced the pizza pie right through the middle, and now he's enjoying the spoils of the hunt. And that's so cool that they're like pro hunting. It's very
Yeah,
barbaric. It's very like primal. It's
it's
like you're
very
just
Joe
eating
Rogan.
pizza. It is very Joe Rogan. That's so right.
He's the only hunter I know, the hunter and gatherer.
Hmm.
Look at all the bugs he hunted for Fear Factor, right? Like he collected all those himself, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he's got a producer tag on the credits of Fear Factor. So that means someone's got to get all those worms, you know? Where
Little
are they
rogue young
getting
Pete.
bulk worms pre-internet? It doesn't really make sense. Like pre-Amazon, they would get you like a whole carton of like scorpions, a tank full.
Would you try like a fried insect or scorpion, or does that fall outside of your jurisdiction?
Oh, as a vegetarian, It's a gray area for sure. I have eaten crickets before, fried crickets. I even had some last week in Mexico. And
Wow.
I feel like that's okay to eat because crickets
You're telling
are
me
from,
you're telling me we have a food podcast and we did a whole episode about your trip in Mexico and we didn't talk about you eating crickets?
oh yeah, bro. I was down in them. They were spicy. They had the head on them, the wings on them. It was the whole shrimpy.
Hmm. All right. So what about crickets you were about to say?
Well, I've heard rumors. I've never really Googled it, but I've heard maybe this is hearsay, but that they're a potentially sustainable form of protein because
Oh.
they can be their protein ratio is much higher than all other animals, so they can feed the masses, and
Hmm.
they don't have a very big carbon footprint because you could probably grow a cricket in like a few hours. I don't really know, you know?
Fully grown cricket, 2 hours old.
Yeah.
Um, wow, that's a barely legal cricket right there. But
Hmm.
you're right. Not only do they have a small like carbon footprint, but they quite literally have a it's extremely tiny footprint.
A
Like they take up
very
almost no space.
yeah, dude, and they have presumably like a long shelf life because once you dry them up, they kind of just get petrified, and there's no
Mm,
like fat or anything to break down. So you can
hmm
store crickets in the pantry.
hmm You can store them in the pantry in a jar, even.
Hmm.
They just look horrible. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure they taste like almost nothing, or like even like a maybe like a cracker or something. Like nothing too crazy. But just the fact that they physically have legs and a head. Um,
Hmm.
but then again, like so do chickens, and we eat those.
Hmm.
So what's the problem?
Well, I think the problem, Eric, is that we as a society go to incredible lengths to separate the animal from the food. We don't call it pig, we call it pork. We don't call it cow, we call it beef. We make sure it's gone through multiple cycles of production to make it look nothing like the animal that it came from. The cricket, because you're hitting it raw, it's hard to
Hmm.
separate what it looks like in the animal from uh, the substance that you're consuming. And maybe as cricket consumption matures, and we start putting cricket, like ground cricket in things, or maybe it becomes a cricket flax seed of some sort. In that
You're right.
world, it's now more physically separated. People will be more forgiving of it. But while it's still the shape of a cricket, I think it will creep people out. Are you telling me that you, my co-host Eric, have never crunched a cricket?
I've never crunched a cricky. No, I have not. I have no like place to do that. Like I haven't been to Thailand, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam or something. I haven't really dabbled in that in Mexico. The five-star resort I was staying in did not offer crickets.
Mm.
I was too focused on the prime rib Thai to dabble in the crickets, but no, I have not tried. That's not to say I wouldn't. You know, if I was in the right environment, I would absolutely, um, you know, get into the crick.
Dude, I encourage you if you get the opportunity to crunch those cookies. Coachella,
Hmm.
they have them behind the bar. So
Oh,
if you ask nicely, the bartender may supply you with some from his personal bug collection. Um,
interesting. So
mhm.
you have to inquire about the crickets. They don't have them on the menu.
They used to be on their street corn, but the street corn has been discontinued from the menu. But they still have pantry crickets kicking about.
Damn, if you know, if the restaurant in your neighborhood has something on the menu called street corn, I'm sorry to say, but your rent's going up.
It's street corn served on a plate while you're sitting down
Yeah, exactly.
by like an oil
Street
lit
corn.
candle.
Oh boy. Um,
If
Interesting. To
do you think
inquire about
Subway
the cricket.
has? I think Subway is could be a force for good in this environment. They have a protein offering, which in our last episode we discussed. Subway must protect meat consumption at all costs to preserve their business model.
Hmm.
But if they could peddle quickies to the masses and destigmatize the bug bite, then
Bug bite.
people. they could open up a whole new sector of business, help move the world to a more sustainable
Hmm.
place, but also maintain those fat protein margins.
I wouldn't mind that. And I think maybe a way they could do it is to integrate it into the veggie patty. You know what I mean? It's already
Mm,
like a blended up brick of mush.
right.
Um, why not just throw like a handful of crickets in there and you won't even like see it, but you get this like high protein option now for vegetarians.
Hmm. And that honestly, that veggie patty, that thing needs some crunch. Like it is like a soggy sponge.
Yeah, dude. The thing's soggy as hell, man. That isn't if you were able to thaw it down, because it
Hmm.
comes frozen.
Dude, it's literally like the polar ice caps. It's frozen, but once it starts melting, it's just mush.
God damn it. Um, Ty, we had a big week together.
Big week.
We
Big
we
week.
activated outside of the pod, and it's always a movie when me and you do that.
Hmm.
Um, we alluded to it last episode, so I thought it'd be good to follow up. Just circle back with
Hmm.
the breadies on
Hmm.
what went down at our activation.
Hmm.
Care to speak on it?
Yeah, now is as good a time as any to reflect. What was once a novelty, Ty and Eric building IRL has now become a fairly consistent segment on this podcast. Nonetheless, I still appreciate an opportunity to link and build with you.
Hmm.
Night before last, Eric and I got booed up and then got chewed up at a local brand new Italian restaurant. After a
Yeah.
few dinner and drink activation, we retired to Eric's crib where he whooped my ass at a game of pool, and then we called it in from there. I couldn't. I went home tail in between my legs,
It's always fun
whimpering.
to it's always fun to show you, how a pro gets things done. I was looking back at my photos from that night, and I didn't take that many photos. I didn't take any photos of the food. I actually only have one photo from that night, and it's from a game of pool that you almost beat us in. We did doubles. It was a doubles pool
Hmm.
game. But Ty,
Hmm.
in his first turn, took out all of the balls except for
Hmm.
the 8 ball. So he was one move away from beating us. And here's a photo I have, Ty. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just that
Oh,
empty board.
wow, it's
and
beautiful.
um, and at this moment, that's when things all went downhill for you because I think we came back to win this game,
You got pretty close.
or
I
I mean,
could
you might have
not
finished
drop
this one
that
off.
eight ball.
Yeah. But you almost beat us in one turn, which would have been sad for me as an athlete, even though this is
Hmm.
not even close to a sport. But as a competitor, I guess we should
Hmm.
say.
As a
Um,
competitor, that's way more appropriate terminology. Pool is
yeah.
making a comeback, though. I At least in my Instagram algorithm.
Hmm.
And I'm not talking
Yeah.
about swimming. Swimming is still lame, but pool, the table is becoming, and I think it's because people don't want to just. I think the new generation doesn't just want to drink for drinking's sake. They need an activity to subsidize the drinking. So because they're trying to like wean off,
Hmm. Hmm. Well, it's because life, Ty, is so easy now compared to the 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say 1900s, I'm just talking about the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
1991 through 9.
exactly. Like life is so easy that we don't need to use alcohol as a way to disassociate from reality. Reality's fine. We don't need to, like wallow in our sorrows. We can just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, play games. So drinking itself is not enough for us to bond over.
Mm-hmm.
We need to stay in reality as well and play some pool.
Dude, I totally get that. I feel like Zoomers are trying to engage with reality more. Well, everyone older than them is trying to still disengage. They're caught in old ways.
Hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Speaking of trying to engage with old ways, um,
Old subways.
old subways. No, I meant traditional methods of cooking Italian food. This restaurant that
Mm-hmm.
we went to didn't really do that, and I thought it was kind of interesting. Your side of the table was very green,
Uh-huh.
whereas my side of the table, me and Bay, it was very red. It was kind of like a Christmas dinner if you think about
A
it.
little bit, a little bit. And my side wasn't green because of my vegetarian diet. It was green simply because every pasta I ordered had a green sauce. Here's what I think, Eric. I think it's because this Italian restaurant is owned by a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Let's just yeah, let's just name drop this place. So it's Osteria Povera in Port
Povera.
Moody. This place, Povera. This place, if you spend a good 30 seconds on their website, you'll quickly find the originals logo in the
Mm-hmm.
footer or
Yep.
somewhere. And
Local Mexican haunt.
local Mexican establishments. Don't know if they have any crickets on the menu, but they have really good enchiladas, wet and dry. Actually, I
Mm.
guess they're always wet. If it's an enchilada, I'm thinking about wet and dry burritos. Place is great. So I had high hopes for this place, but obviously Mexican cooking does not translate very well to Italy, I don't think. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we both kind of like rated our pastas pretty low. I gave it a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in 4 territory as well, Eric. And it was simply
Mm,
because it was too dry. It wasn't saucy, you know? They need to make the
mine was
pasta
pretty
wetter.
saucy. I mean, yeah, mine was no, mine wasn't saucy at all. It was kind of like a meat sauce, but there was no tomato base. You know what I mean? It was just like it
Mm-hmm.
was like a pasta with like a pulled pork thing on it. You know,
Yeah, you ordered
it's kind of what it felt
ragu, but
like.
you got ragross.
Yeah, I got ragout.
The red flag though was looking at the cocktail menu. I think actually the real red flag was when we sat down and they gave us the menus, and the menus were every person at the table got their own personal like Android tablet with a PDF of the menu on it. And I'm like, what? I'm just gonna
Oh,
hold this giant screen in front of me? Dude, I've
yeah,
never
you are.
wished more for a QR code than that moment.
I know. There's like a hierarchy of evil. QR code is up there, but at the very top is your own personal Android tablet.
I don't even know how to use Android. I kept swiping out of the PDF. I didn't understand. I don't
Yeah, I
understand the
know.
gestures.
Yeah, it was my first time using a non-retina display in like
Mhm.
5 years, and it was really difficult to touch. Like it felt like very just like unresponsive, and like I couldn't tell if it was like the oil on my fingers or the oil on someone else's fingers before me.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, someone clearly asked for the menu after eating some wings or something. They're like, "Can I see
Yeah.
the menu again?"
Well, after I polished off my first drink, I did want to revisit the menu, but not bad enough to hold that PDF again, that
Yeah.
glowing square. So I had to just base off muscle memory alone. And that's simply the only reason I ordered a Peroni.
But you know what's funny? That it's like it's even just like a PDF on that thing because
Mhm.
you would assume if it's like an interactive digital menu, then maybe I can like I don't know navigate a website, see some images, but it's really just like a text document. It's kind of
Mhm.
it's kind of crazy if you think about
It's a
it.
bit whack. It's like the owners were so technically illiterate that they didn't know
Hmm.
how to host a menu online, that they
Hmm.
went to the lengths of buying like 20 tablets for the restaurant instead.
But you know what's even more annoying, Ty? The menu is online. I'm looking at it right now,
No. Oh
and it's
no, we could have
interactive.
just gone on our phone.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
this is
whatever
terrible.
agency designed the menu online, like did obviously a much better job because this is actually instant. It's quick, you know what I mean? I love looking at this compared to the PDF in stores.
Hmm. Shout out to creative
um,
agencies.
Obviously, I was too hungry to even think about doing this. I just, went along with the plan. But next time we
Hmm.
go, if we ever do go, I unfollow them on Instagram. That's how bad it was. But if we ever do go back, I'm just gonna say no, thank you to the menu. Like I got this from here. I just open up my iPhone 14 Pro Max and
Yep,
take it from there.
that's the right call. And you know you're only touching your own finger grease.
Exactly. Um, but yeah, I thought the food was all right. The best part about it though was probably the free charcuterie at the beginning. I liked
More
that. We
restaurants
got
should
some
do that.
spicy salami. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
full
good.
charcut, cheese, some sort of chutney, some meats, and a medley of different breads, all on the casa. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
a pre-meal for free before eating seems counterintuitive to business, but it really like helped like alleviate the problems I had with the paid meals.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because you can't argue with free. Like if anything free ends up in your plate and it's like
Mm-hmm.
somewhat decent, you're like, this was awesome. But then you
Mm-hmm.
pay like I don't know. I don't even know what the prices are. I didn't even look. But I did pay for the pasta and it wasn't as good as the free charcuterie. So there's
Yeah,
something wrong here.
there's something wrong. This is where Subway can do no harm, Eric, because as long as every vegetable is free on that menu, they can put a really low bar for quality.
This is a great point because if I get some guac and I hate it, I'm like, why the fuck are they charging for this guac? It sucks. But
Mm-hmm.
the lettuce, it doesn't matter if it's brown or purple or green. It doesn't really has no idea. I don't even see color in that way. It's free.
Yeah, dude, if you find a caterpillar under your spinach leaf, you're like, damn, this really is fresh.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude. Speaking of which, I found a caterpillar in my bed the other night.
Oh God. Do you leave your window
And
open or did you bring it
I leave
in
my window
from
open.
outside?
I don't know, Ty. I don't know how bugs get in here at all because this thing, it's kind of like a really small, slow moving caterpillar. So it must have taken it a week to climb up to the fifth
Hmm.
floor, which I live on. Um, I don't know. I have plants in here. Maybe it got in there with the plant, and then once I like watered it, once it said I gotta get out of here. I need where's my Noah's Ark?
Hmm.
I don't know, Ty.
Well, I feel like caterpillars are the next bug to be bug bitten. Not because of their like flavor profile or accessibility, but because they're simply people are eating caterpillars all the time. They're so omnipresent in household gardens. They just come in with the leafy greens and they end up in the salad.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was an unwelcome sight. Maybe I need to work on myself a little bit more to when I train myself when I see a caterpillar to see food and not a threat. But I did see a threat that in that moment, and I took care of
It's
it.
very reflective of you.
Thank you.
When you walk into Subway, do you see food or do you see a threat?
I see a threat to my insides, it's for sure. A threat to my health, a threat to my social image, my
Mm-hmm.
personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, potentially even my relationship. I don't know what the sandwich artist might be thinking at that given
Mm-hmm.
moment.
Interestingly enough, I also feel threatened. My personal brand feels threatened when I walk in the Subway because we have gone to a great length to distance our personal brands from Subway outside of this podcast. Kind of the same way like Batman and Bruce Wayne are a little different, but more and more so, my friends and family and people I genuinely respect, which is a special third party, um, are coming out of the woodwork, coming out of the lettuce bin, and revealing themselves as Subway enthusiasts.
Interesting. So, what kind of things are they
Mhm.
saying to let you know that they are, in fact, enthused by Subway?
They say things like, "I could eat Subway right now." Like, yeah, that'd be
It's
pretty
such
good
an
right now.
odd, it's such an odd thing because, like, I don't know, maybe because we're too deep into it, Ty, but I think of Subway as like still kind of like a niche topic. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's there, but we don't really acknowledge it, kind of like most things. You know what I mean?
Hidden in
Like
plain sight,
Chevron, you know what I
like your
mean?
caterpillar. Yeah.
Exactly. Like we never it's there obviously, but we never acknowledge it. Like McDonald's is part of the like cultural conversation. It's like, yeah, everyone wants McDonald's after a night out. It's like some
Hmm.
cheeky nuggets. There's so many things that are like embedded in the fabric of society that it's just like it makes more sense for people to bring up their love for McDonald's.
Hmm.
But Subway is just like not one of those things. So it's really
I think it's
fascinating.
because I don't think people see Subway as a vice. Other fast food in general, has been seen as almost a sinful act. Like you're cheating the kind of your body if you go there. And people love to
Hmm.
talk about their vices. They love to share that
Mm,
because it makes them edgy. Subway
mm,
Subway has branded themselves as not a vice, and therefore they cannot be edgy. But I think as the controversies accumulate, unless you're like, I guess Subway's got edgy in the sense that they like have a weird relationship with pedophilia. But beyond that, like, people don't really want to associate themselves with that edge, you know? Um,
mhm,
but I think it's changing. And I think it's changing because Subway keeps showing up in popular culture as like maybe not the good guy. Maybe there's a,
mm,
maybe there's some like nefarious things happening there and like maybe it's not good for you, you know? And now people are seeing it as a
mhm,
vice once again. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to eat
mm,
a lot. I'm going to get a lot of sauce. I'm going to eat yoga mat bread. I'm going to have fake tuna and I'm going to love it.
mhm,
I'm going to treat my body wrong and my mind right."
mm. Yeah, 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 I think you're onto something. So like if McDonald's is George Bush, then maybe Subway is like Bill Clinton, you know?
Mhm.
It's like George Bush, it's like we kind of know you're like a weirdo, the
Mhm.
whole time, but you haven't revealed anything new that's weird. It's kind of McDonald's, right? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. They're pretty transparent about it. But then Bill
Mhm.
Clinton, it's like very charming guy, you know, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what the fuck? You've been doing that on your spare time? That's crazy.
Doing that nasty stuff, eh?
Um, doing that nasty stuff. Kind of
Yeah.
weird parallel with Fogle. Let's just call it what it is.
It kinda is. And honestly, like, Subway kinda
Was Fogle on the jet? Was he on the jet with Epstein too?
Fogel's Island. Oh, wow. Honestly, though, it makes sense that you draw that conclusion because Subway also kind of has that value where it's like, we are not who we say we are. And I think
Exactly.
the jig is up, the mask is off. Subway's always been a mask off kind of place, but not the mask, the facade of the brand.
Yeah, absolutely correct about that. Um,
And
wow.
Scottie Barnes
I don't
isn't going to
know.
save him.
Scottie Barnes is like one of the most mid players on the Raptors, and Raptors is like a mid team. Like, why is that even like the guy? Why is he the guy? Was he the
Why is
best
he
they
the?
could afford? There's no way.
It's it's because he's got this really like outspoken, personable energy that I think that Subway has latched onto. But like that's dangerous because he's so young. He's like hasn't really. No, not yet. Eric's laughing. Not dangerous in that way. He's he's legal age, Eric,
He's the
but
youngest. He's the youngest NBA player. That's why they got him. They should have
is
just
he
went to
actually?
Little League. I
They
don't know.
probably should have. He certainly
Wait.
is up there, but I don't think he's like outspoken. But I don't think he's developed kind of the reserve maturity of a typical like face of a company. So I give it like two more NBA seasons for before Scottie Barnes tweaks something absolutely cancelable, and then Subway has to drop him. And it
Mm,
probably will be by accident. He probably won't actually know what he meant or said, but he's going to say something that will disenfranchised and a minority group of some sort, and Subway is going to be
mm,
holding the thin plastic bags and have to deal with it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know what's interesting, Ty? I just Googled how old Scotty Barnes is. He's 21. He was born in 2001. Actually, wait, that would make him, yeah, August. So 2001. Guess when Subway started advertising with Fogle?
Was it 2001?
2000. Close enough, Ty. We're we're onto something.
Yo,
Do you
that's
think they
insane. So,
like?
whoa,
Wow.
Scottie Barnes, a known child during the Fogle rampage, growing up watching Fogle rise and then fall, still signed a deal with Subway.
Mm-hmm.
He was the
Fogle.
oppressed. He was a child.
Whoa. Is Subway swinging the pendulum all the way in the other direction? It's like we're gonna choose one of the victims to now represent the brand.
It's very possible. I wonder if Subway, in the same way that like a pedophile isn't allowed to like go near a school, like as a part of the like legal fallout of Fogle, if Subway is like not allowed to advertise with children or like employ children in their marketing campaigns. Like Scottie turns
Hmm.
21 and Fogle's like all over it, or not Fogle, Subway's all over it. They're like, yeah, you're 21 now. We're coming after you. It's very like dicey.
That is very dicey. Wow. So I guess a threat to children anywhere, Ty, is a threat to children everywhere.
I think so.
Insane. Um, Apparently in 2002, Fogel was on South Park, and the title of the episode was called "Jared Has AIDS."
Damn,
Dude, South Park is insane, man. Can't believe that we had that show.
I know. So, th- wow, I have so many questions. I haven't seen this episode clearly, but um,
Ty, so he was convicted in 2015. That means Scottie Barnes was 14. Is it possible, Ty, that he was already known? He was already a known victim.
I don't know where did Scottie Barnes grow up? Let's do some triangulations here. Can you figure out where Jared Fogle grew up? Like, where was Jared Fogle living in 2015?
Let's see here. Indianapolis.
Mm, Scottie Barnes' hometown is West Palm Beach, Florida. That's pretty far from Indianapolis.
Damn. Well, this is Brett has this is live on air. We we're doing some live research right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Beautiful. Well,
Hmm.
I don't know what else to say. I don't know if we'll find the answers here, but there is a picture of the subway that Fogel visited regularly, and dude, it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary looking.
Can you screen share that picture for me right now?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know why, but this just looks terrifying.
Oh my god.
Like,
Okay, breadheads. This is a crazy looking subway. Very cursed. I will post this in our Instagram story for the next 24 hours, so please take a look. Um, it's unnerving because it feels like the subway's just been attached to a house. Like it looks like crimes happen there.
it does look like crimes have happened there. Crimes of passion in this case. I'm just gonna close this. I don't want to look at this thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Nasty, nasty ass.
Wow. It looks like the kind of like building that they would film a like a horror film, like a the curse of the subway on the corner.
Yeah. Um, what if Scotty Barnes played for the Indiana Pacers? That would be a weird turn of events. But
That would be.
unfortunately, he's plays for Toronto, our Canadian team here.
It is
Um,
unfortunate.
how unfortunate. Another thing that's unfortunate, Ty, is Emma Leger, her
Mm,
new olive company. Is that right?
correct. Renowned Vancouver-based influencer Emma Leger had recently released her own brand of olives, and they're not black olives. There's a red olive and a green olive.
How unfortunate. So this is like the latest iteration of influencer starts food company. You know, what I mean, we have like Emma Chamberlain coffee, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
That 818.
Emma's Olives is a thing. Yeah, 818. Oh, the liquor ones just go on forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but can you tell me more about this olive company and why is an influencer putting cute graphic design labels on olive jars?
It's a great question, Eric. Well, I don't really follow Emma Leger that closely, but I do know enough about her to know that she is obsessed with olives. She is, in fact, the reason that I ordered the olives at Nightingale last time I was there. But
Wait, hold on.
because, yeah,
What do you mean? They were serving Emma's olives, or you just are a fan of her, and so you were like, let me live that life right now.
I knew that she had tried the olives there and recommended them to her following, and
Oh,
therefore it ended up in my feed, and therefore I thought I was influenced, Eric. What can I say?
okay. Okay, so let's hear more about these olives in question. how did Nightingale do the olive? Was it a blue cheese olive? Was it a red pepper olive?
No, it was what I would call an olive medley.
Oh,
There was a bunch of different varietals. They were all really oiled up, different sizes too. I'm not very familiar with olive breeds. The only olive I'm intimately familiar with is a black sliced olive, the ones that you may be familiar with on a foot long.
oh, I'm familiar, buddy.
But
Um,
the value of the Nightingale olive medley is it's hard to find something better. There's so many little olives in that tray, and I think it came in around 10 Canadian dollars.
mm, okay, fascinating. Um, 10 Canadian dollars. That's pretty reasonable, I would say. Or maybe a little high, actually. I think Savio is $8 for their little olive
Yeah,
medley.
but their olive medley is about half the size as Nightingale's. The worst bang for your buck olive you
Oh,
can buy in Vancouver is at Juice Bar. You'll get 6 olives and it costs $15.
wow, beautiful. I was literally just looking at Juice Bar's Instagram today because it is a 3-year anniversary of them delivering wine, which they don't do
Hmm,
anymore. But that
a
was
shame.
like something that, you know, I was holding on to in the pandemic. That I was the ability to
Hmm.
get wine delivered. That made everything okay.
Wait, so they're celebrating a service that they no longer offer?
Yeah, make it make sense.
I
But
can't.
it's a fond memory of mine, and I can see why they did that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, but tie back to this like olive scandal. What the fuck is going on here, buddy? What is this?
Okay.
She's
Okay.
this into olives? Like it says olives in her bio.
Dude, I
It
think
says
what it is,
lifestyle, lifestyle, fashion, beauty, and olives. Like what?
I'm going to tell you what's happening here. She's being influenced. She saw another famous Emma Chamberlain, release a coffee company, and she thought,
Oh,
what's my coffee bean?
damn, you're right. So it's all just snowball effect here.
It
And you
is.
actually bought this?
I ordered some because I wanted to do it for the pod, Eric. I want us to try both the Calamatas and the, what's the other one? Castella Vetrano? I don't know. The green and the red ones.
The green ones, yeah, okay. Harvested in Italy and Greece.
Hmm.
35. Okay, so $35 for this two pack for the foot long. These look pitted.
I hope they're pitted.
So, huh. So do you think
Yeah.
that
So
there's like, is there like a group of girlies somewhere in the world that's like assembling right now, and they're like, we have to make a charcuterie board with Emma's olives. Like that's like the final. Once you do that, you've beaten the boss of life.
yeah, for sure. I'm sure there's like a niche like fashion influencer for every charcuterie element, and
Mm.
there's
Oh
some
shit.
Depop girly out there that's been able to put it all together for girls' night.
Hmm. Hmm. Imagine the Revolve tent this year at Coachella. There's gonna be like Emma's olives, Chamberlain coffee, 818. It's gonna be
Dude,
a
it's
movie, bro. And if you're not there, then you're missing out. What are you
yeah,
doing?
there's going to be a lot of tummy aches in the Revolve tent this year. Now,
Dude, girls
all
are gonna
this
be shitting. They're gonna be shitting their pants with the Emma Chamberlain's coffee.
I
That's
OD'd
crazy.
on the bean. It does open up a
These girls can't handle the bean.
um I like to think of Think Fresh podcast as influencers. We're obviously already in the culinary space. What is our grosh of choice? What do we go live with first? I would love it if we bottled our own variations of Subway sauces, but with some Think Fresh
Mm,
branding. I think that would be really dope.
mhm,
I mean,
mhm,
clearly all these other companies are just getting like white label olives and white label like salami from some like food provider, like probably the same
mm.
supplier that Walmart has, and then smacking their Pinterest brand on it.
Exactly. They're hiring someone on Fiverr to do a very thoughtful millennial graphic, you know,
Hmm.
cute orbital blob
Hmm.
packaging design. But you know what, Ty? I've cracked the code. I think I know exactly what we should go to market with. And you're not ready for how smart this idea is.
Hit me.
I'm just letting you know right now. So think about the elements of what makes something tasty, right? You got salt, fat, acid, heat, and you got umami.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing we're gonna make. We're gonna make a sprinkle, like a seasoning salt that you put in your sandwich, and it's gonna
Mm,
taste like a Subway sandwich once you do that.
that's the umami. Oh, of
That's the
course.
umami.
We
Yeah.
should call it umama.
Umama. That's actually pretty good.
Umami. Upapi.
Upapi. That's a pretty good idea. So, see, I just think that's what we should do. And
I think that's a great idea.
yeah, it'll kind of be like the Italian seasoning that you get at
Hmm.
Trader Joe's, but it'll be Subway flavored.
Dude, I bought the everything bagel seasoning from Trader Joe's because people in my network are like, bro, it goes on everything. You have to own it. It's everything for everything. I haven't used it once yet. It hasn't even been cracked in my cupboard. I don't know what to put it on.
Yeah,
Why do I need to put
yeah.
everything seasoning on anything?
I don't know. My ball and chain will make me lunch from time to time, and she'll put it on eggs, like scrambled eggs with some everything seasoning, which honestly it gets a little old, Ty. You don't really need that every time.
Mm.
It's too like too powerful of an ingredient that once you use it on everything, it's like you get sick of it really quickly.
Oh, I
So
bet.
yeah, once you crack that thing, I suggest you are use it sparingly.
It's too powerful.
Yeah, they should change it to like a sometime seasoning. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Or like not everything.
Hmm. I think all food in general could be more humble, you know? Like, why has somebody got something called the monster on their menu? Like, stay
Mm,
humble.
yeah, I know. I want the J. Cole meal.
Yeah, me too. Just cold cuts with mustard on plain white bread.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know what to do about this new influencer craze of starting a DTC food brand. Um, I kind of just like, I fuck with the classics a little bit too much. Like even 818. I don't know if I need the, designer tequila, you know? Give me my give me my 1942 and I'll be happier, you
Right.
know?
Which is pretty funny coming from a guy who has two bottles of Bait 1 8 currently on his counter, but it is kind of crazy that they would want to try to go head to head with like our friends Jose or Don.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that I heard you furiously type tequila brands and then
I,
tell me that.
you don't know anything about what I'm typing. I'm in our DMs. I'm replying to listeners. They ask me
Yeah.
questions all the time about my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
I try to
Yeah.
entertain the fans.
Hey, you know what? That actually gives me a good idea. I think a goal for this pod should be to DM Emma, or at least DM her assistant, and get a free, press pack of Emma's olives. I'm sorry to hear that
Mm,
you bought them already, Ty, but we should try to get them for free on the pod. Um, if not, I'll enlist my GF to do that.
that's a really great idea because we could offer to compare them to Subway's olives and go
Mm-hmm.
tit for tat and see which one performs better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Um, it's either Emma's olives or Demna's olives.
The all black ones.
Yeah.
Demna's olives are, of course, for the people.
Um, yeah, and there we go, Ty. I think that's a great next step, and I think we should get to it.
All
Let's
right, we'll
start our
circle back on
weekend, eh?
this next week. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, Kate.
Shout out to the breadheads. Shout
Mm-hmm.
out to our new podcasting friends. New big things coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and shout out to you, Ty. It's always a pleasure.
I love a shout out. I appreciate that. You as well, Eric. Have a strong weekend. I'm looking forward to collaborating with you on Tuesday.
Yeah, later, bro.
Ciao.